I never thought that a choice as straightforward as moving into a nursing home could turn my life upside down. At 82, I find myself wishing I had known then what I understand now. When it comes to the decision of moving into a nursing home, many folks picture a safe and practical option where comfort, care, and convenience come together in a tidy package. But what if I shared with you that the reality is much more complex and the consequences are deeper than anyone could ever get ready? After making the decision on my own, I stumbled upon some lessons that I really wish someone had shared with me earlier. If you're thinking about this for yourself or someone you care about, these 6 surprising truths might just turn everything around. Believe me, deciding to move into a nursing home is more complicated than it appears. Before we start, I would really appreciate it if you liked this video. You can also help me continue spreading these timeless lessons. If you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any videos. If you like this video, leave a comment with the number 1. If you don't, comment with the number 0 so I can improve future videos. Now, let's get started. 1. Losing one's independence. The biggest surprise I faced after moving into a nursing home wasn't the tiny room, strict meal schedules, or the new faces around me. It felt like I suddenly lost my independence. Before the move, I was in charge of my daily routines. I chose when to rise, what time to have my meals, and how to fill my day. From a morning stroll in the park to getting lost in my favorite book, or simply savoring some quiet time, I was the one in charge of my life. These little personal choices brought a sense of comfort and empowerment. But once I got to the nursing home, it hit me that my independence was gone. Everything was run by a tight schedule decided by someone else. Meals were served at set times, regardless of whether I felt hungry or not. Bedtime was set by the staff, no matter if I was feeling sleepy or wanted to take a stroll. That would need permission and help, which often meant waiting around for a while. Even the simplest decisions, like picking out my clothes or choosing what to eat, felt like they were taken out of my hands. What once seemed like basic rights started to feel more like privileges, handed out based on someone else's choice. I can clearly remember my first week in the nursing home. I was sitting in a bed that didn't belong to me, reaching for my book, and it hit me. I wasn't in my own home anymore. The little things that used to make my place feel like home, the cozy chair, the warm vibe I built over the years, had been swapped out for cold, lifeless walls. I felt a deep sense of disconnection, and it hit me that independence goes beyond just being physically free. It also involves how we emotionally connect with our surroundings. Once you give up your independence, getting it back can be quite a tough journey. You let go of questioning the schedule, stop seeking little freedoms, and start to adjust. However, in this version, some aspects of yourself begin to diminish. Before you decide to move into a nursing home, take a moment to reflect. Are you ready to give up those little, yet meaningful choices that make life uniquely yours? A growing feeling of being overlooked. One of the toughest things about moving into a nursing home is that feeling like the world outside just keeps on going without you. My family promised they would visit regularly, and at first they really stuck to that promise. Initially, their visits gave me a feeling of continuity and a link to my past life. My daughter would come by once a week, and my grandkids would swing by on the weekends. For a time, it seemed like I still had a place in their lives, like I hadn't entirely disappeared into the background. But as time went on, those visits started to happen less often. The phone calls began to take the place of visits, and the hopes for family gatherings during the holidays frequently fell short. Gradually, I ended up in the common room, surrounded by others who, just like me, were waiting for visitors who never showed up. It wasn't that my family cared for me any less, it was just that life had a way of getting in the way. The more time you spend away from the daily grind, the easier it is for people to forget how much you still rely on them. One evening, I found myself sitting alone in my room, pondering whether I should give my son a call. I really didn't want to be a hassle. So I finally put the phone down, and it hit me hard that this was my new reality. This was my life. And no matter how much I longed for the connections of the past, they felt like they were drifting further away with each day that went by. Before making the decision to move into a nursing home, it's essential to consider whether you're prepared to deal with the loneliness that can often come with it. Sometimes even the closest families can drift apart when you're not around, and you might start to wonder if anyone still thinks of you. Isolation can feel like a heavy, quiet burden, and it often gets harder to carry as time passes. 3. Losing sight of our purpose. Before I moved into the nursing home, I had a strong sense of purpose in my life. I had my share of responsibilities, hobbies, and daily routines that motivated me to rise and shine each morning. Watering the plants, preparing my meals, and tidying up my space were little tasks that, when combined, made me feel more in control of my day. These actions made me feel accomplished and gave my life a sense of meaning. But after I settled into the nursing home, those simple rituals started to disappear. Meals were made for me, the staff took care of the cleaning, and the plants that used to bring me joy were no longer in my care. Initially, I attempted to persuade myself that taking it easy was a good thing. Say goodbye to chores and responsibilities. Take a moment to relax. But after a few weeks, I began to feel a sense of emptiness creeping in. The days started to drag on, filled with nothing but the anticipation of time moving forward. I noticed that the other residents felt the same disconnection as well. Once vibrant and full of life, people now found themselves spending their days sitting quietly, lost in thought. Let me tell you about George, an 84-year-old carpenter who dedicated his life to building and fixing things. However, in the nursing home, he found himself without any tools or projects to engage with. As I watched him pull away, it was clear that the loss of purpose was sapping his spirit. If you're thinking about moving into a nursing home, take a moment to reflect on what truly gives your life meaning. It's more than just filling the hours. It's all about clinging to the things that make you feel truly alive. Finding a sense of purpose in this new environment can really be a journey. Not having daily responsibilities, which used to feel like a badge of honor, can actually make it tougher to feel linked to the world around you. Discovering your purpose is key to keeping your identity intact in a world where time can sometimes seem to lose its significance. If you're still tuned in and finding these lessons helpful, drop a comment with a 1. Just a little note to see if you're still with me. Health is declining more quickly than anticipated. When I first settled into the nursing home, I was in pretty good health. I may not have been at my best, but I could still get around, whip up a meal, and look after myself just fine. I had some great routines that kept me moving and helped me stay healthy. But once I got comfortable, everything shifted. At first, it seemed like I was just stepping away from the everyday grind. Food was delivered right to my door, so I could kick back and forget all about cooking or cleaning. At first, it felt like a weight lifted off my shoulders, but as I kept putting my needs aside, I noticed I was growing weaker. I slowed down a bit. My legs started to feel stiff, and getting out of the chair became a bit more challenging with each passing day. I saw folks who used to get around on their own now, depending on wheelchairs. I think back to my neighbor, Alice, who used to be full of energy and strength. As time went on, she started using a walker and, eventually, a wheelchair. One day, she turned to me and said, "I feel like I've aged 10 years in just a few months." Her words lingered in my mind because I could clearly see the impact that inactivity had on her. The more assistance you get, the more reliant you might find yourself. It's easy to overlook just how important movement is, not only for convenience, but also for your overall health. If I had realized just how fast my strength would slip away, I would have put up a bigger fight to keep myself moving. In the nursing home, every detail is crafted to ensure life is as easy as can be. Meals are brought to you and help is available for daily tasks, but this convenience can come with a trade-off in terms of independence and physical well-being. It's a tricky situation, and before you know it, the simple things you used to take for granted, like walking on your own, become a lot more challenging. If you're thinking about moving into a nursing home, take a moment to ask yourself, will you still feel motivated to stay active when everything around you is set up to make life a bit easier? The answer might just be what keeps your health on track or leads to a quicker decline than you anticipated. 5. Loss of privacy and dignity. One thing I didn't really think about when I moved into a nursing home was how much privacy I would actually give up. At home, I had my own little corner where I could enjoy some quiet time or go about my day just the way I liked. While I could always escape into my own little world when I wanted, in the nursing home, finding a moment of privacy turned out to be quite a rare treat. As soon as I got there, it was like I could feel eyes on me all the time. Room checks happened on a regular basis, shared spaces became the usual thing, and the staff was always around. It seemed like there was never a time when I could really be by myself. Even the simplest tasks, like taking a shower or using the restroom, needed a helping hand from someone else. The staff definitely cared. They were just focused on getting their jobs done. It was tough for me to accept help with tasks that I had always handled on my own. It was tough to accept that I had lost control over so many parts of my daily routine. Initially, I found it challenging to ask for permission for everyday activities, like taking a shower or choosing what I wanted to eat. I had to come to terms with the fact that my room wasn't really mine anymore. Being in the same space with someone else just made it feel even less personal, like a temporary stop in a place that didn't quite feel like home. If you're thinking about a nursing home, take a moment to reflect. Are you prepared to let go of the privacy and control you've enjoyed in your life? It's not only about losing physical space, it's also about the struggle to make decisions freely and hold on to those little dignities that once made you feel independent. When privacy starts to fade away, it can leave you feeling less like your true self and more like a bystander in your own life. Leaving is tougher than it seems. When I first settled into the nursing home, I figured it would just be a short-term choice. I thought to myself, why not give it a shot? If it doesn't work out, I can always head back home. What I didn't see coming was just how hard it would be to leave after I got comfortable. After months of living in a place where cooking and cleaning weren't on my to-do list, I started to realize that I wasn't feeling as strong or independent as I once did. I found that my physical abilities weren't what they used to be, and I began to question whether I could manage living on my own again. I found myself staying in the nursing home longer than I thought I would because of that fear of not being able to handle things on my own. Once you're in, getting out turns out to be a lot trickier than it looks. Your home might feel a bit different. Now, I found out that my kids had already begun selling my stuff, which made it even tougher to picture going back to the life I used to have. For some folks, packing up and leaving just isn't on the table anymore. This could be because they've sold their home, run out of savings, or come to the tough realization that they can't handle things alone anymore. It's a reality that sneaks up on you, and before you realize it, the chance to return feels like it's slipping away. If you're thinking about moving into a nursing home, take a moment to ask yourself, are you ready for the chance that once you settle in, it might not be as easy to leave as you expect? It's tempting to see it as just a short-term fix, but the longer you stick around, the trickier it gets to walk away. You might find that your independence, which you once thought was secure, is beginning to fade in ways you never saw coming. As we dive into today's topic, transitioning to a nursing home can come with a host of unexpected challenges. There are challenges that extend beyond simply getting used to a new place, including the loss of independence and privacy, as well as the worry of being forgotten or losing one's sense of purpose. It's a journey that calls for strength and an open heart. Every one of these changes impacts us in ways we might not completely grasp until we go through them ourselves. So, what did you take away from this video? What are your thoughts on the sacrifices that come with making such a big life change? I'd really like to know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let us know one takeaway from this video that you'll hold on to as you move ahead. If you enjoyed this video, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more great insights and discussions. We appreciate you tuning in.